Let's make one of my favorite desserts ever, carrot cake. For this recipe, I combined two recipes and also gave it a twist of my own. So to begin, we're going to take 2 cups of flour. It's important that it is spooned and leveled to make sure that you get the right amount. Next up, we're going to take some baking powder and we're going to measure out 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we're going to grab some baking soda and we're going to measure out exactly 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next up, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and then to top it all off, we're going to add half a teaspoon of salt, which activates the baking soda and powder. And then we're just going to whisk and mix together all of the dry ingredients and make sure they are all well incorporated. We already whipped up the dry ingredients. So now we're going to add the carrots and make the wet ingredient mixture. For the wet ingredients, we will need 3 large eggs at room temperature, and 1 cup of vegetable oil of your choosing. I always love to use coconut oil whenever I can, and if not, I use avocado oil or olive oil, and I think in this one I use sunflower oil. 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. Also add half a cup of sugar. So add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Here, as you can see, I used vanilla bean paste. I like when you can see the vanilla granules within the cake, and I also just think it makes it taste stronger. We'll also need 3/4 of a cup of full-fat Greek yogurt. I added a tiny bit of milk to mine as well, so I added around 1/4 of a cup of milk to make that 1 cup of yogurt and milk. At least 3 cups of lightly packed grated carrots. I just freshly grated mine right before adding them into the mix. Once you finish mixing in the carrots, we're going to incorporate back the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. To do this, I usually begin by pouring in about 1/4 or 1/3 of the mixture into the wet ingredients, combining it, making sure not to overmix. Once it's well incorporated in, I will slowly add another 1/3 and so on until it's fully mixed in. And then we're ready to pop the batter into a pan and pop it into the oven. So I used a 9-inch circle pan. I placed parchment paper on the bottom to ensure that the cake won't stick to the pan, and I baked for around half an hour. Now we wait. We're gonna bake it for around 30 minutes. Here it is. And I haven't cut any of it off. They baked pretty flat. And then for the fun part, I actually did not cut the cakes in half to level them. They were pretty flat as is, so I made a cream cheese frosting, which I will put the recipe in the description below, and began to frost and decorate my cake. And I used walnuts as well as shredded walnuts to decorate the cake. For the orange/yellow coloring on the top where I wrote Alleluia and I attempted at putting little carrots on top of the cake, I actually used turmeric and carrot juice to color the frosting. The cake was so good and moist. It was truly very delicious, and I will definitely be making it again.